True to fashion, to the style of Twin Peaks, we picked up right where we left off with an amazing line. Coincidentally, the ending line of Laura Palmer is, "I'll see you again in 25 years. And lo and behold, 25 years later from when she first delivered that line, we are seeing her and Agent Cooper again. This is a great part of this series. Complete coincidence or luck, whatever it may be, it's just awesome that it worked out that way. One of the first things that they showed us was the morning of Laura Palmer's disappearance. We see the empty school halls, then we see the girl running through the school courtyard covering her eyes, and then we get a close-up of Laura's picture. And this lets us know that season 3 of Twin Peaks is once again going to be about the murder of Laura Palmer. It shouldn't be too shocking to us that that's what it's about, because this is what Twin Peaks is. Twin Peaks is about the murder of Laura Palmer. Now, we do know that it was Bob that murdered Laura Palmer through possessing Laura's father. But apparently there is more to be solved in this mystery. Our first hint to this is when the log lady calls Hawk and lets her know that there is something missing, that they missed something from Agent Cooper. Laura delivers that line, and then she kind of strikes the pose of a statue. I forget exactly how it is. It leads us to believe that Agent Cooper has been in the Black Lodge like a statue for 25 years. 25 years is up, and everybody's letting him know it. Laura comes back, and we also see the giant shows up and, once again, gives Agent Cooper some clues. The giant gave Cooper these clues here. Now, the thing is none of them really make sense to us yet. These clues probably won't make sense until we get further along, and we probably won't know what all of them mean until the end of the season. But he gives Agent Cooper these clues, and Agent Cooper's response is, "I understand." The other person that Agent Cooper runs into in the Black Lodge is the one-armed man, and he's helping Agent Cooper understand why he's in the Black Lodge right now and what exactly is going on with him. He mostly does this by introducing him to the arm, which is a funny looking thing. Kind of looks like a tree with a brain on top of its head. And the arm talks and gives very mysterious statements to Agent Cooper. But what we are able to gather from the one-armed man, the arm, and Laura Palmer is that it's time for Agent Cooper to leave the Black Lodge. Laura actually tells him, "You can go now." And then she also tells him, "I am dead, yet I live." Not really sure what that means yet. Now, the other thing we get in the Black Lodge is we see a doppelganger for the arm, and the doppelganger is evil and wants to hurt Agent Cooper. And then we see the one-armed man walking around babbling something is wrong. The thing that's wrong is that his doppelganger plans on not returning. And this is what's wrong. Agent Cooper needs to go out, and the doppelganger needs to return at the same time. Agent Cooper has been missing, both from the FBI and from Twin Peaks. Nobody's really sure what Cooper, or rather his doppelganger, has been up to. And they're also unaware that this is Cooper's doppelganger. So they believe that Agent Cooper just went rogue, and they are not aware that he's a doppelganger. So we have Agent Cooper in the Black Lodge, we have his doppelganger in the real world, and currently in the midst of some kind of setup. We see that Ruth Davenport is murdered. We find that William Hastings is the #1 suspect in the murder of Ruth Davenport. And then we find that Doppelganger Cooper is somehow wrapped up in all of this. He shows up and kills William Hastings' wife, Phyllis, and tells her that she did everything that she was supposed to do, and then shoots her. And we also see that he has plans with Ray and Daria that he needs to get information from Hastings' secretary. He sends Ray to get the information from Hastings' secretary because for some reason the secretary will only give the information to Ray. And then we see that Doppelganger Cooper has some guy named Jack rig the secretary's car. Have to imagine that this is so she will accidentally get kill herself while using the vehicle. Doppelganger Cooper then kills Jack and heads back to see Daria. When he heads back to see Daria, he finds out that there is a plan for Ray and Daria to kill him. And coincidentally enough, it's someone named Jeffries that gives the command to have Doppelganger Cooper killed. Now, Cooper still questions Daria and says, "Who is it that wants me killed?" He hears the name Jeffries, but he still wants to know who this Jeffries is. But then it's only moments later that we see Cooper make a call to a gentleman named Jeffries. And this is where he's confronted about meeting with Major Garland Briggs. The man on the other line also brings up the name Bob, says that he is going to be with Bob soon, and lets Doppelganger Cooper know that he will be returning to the Black Lodge whether he likes it or not. It's hard to say exactly what Doppelganger Cooper is up to with the murder of Ruth and what he wants with Bill Hastings. He's obviously setting Bill Hastings up, and he obviously used some of his supernatural powers because Bill Hastings remembers being in Ruth's apartment in his dreams the night she was murdered, but claims he was never really there. We get one other small little hint that Bill Hastings is telling the truth when he claims that he dreamed he was there, but he wasn't really there, when he's in the jail cell and the camera pans over a few cells, and then we see a man. He kind of looks like a homeless man, a bum maybe, with old clothes, overgrown hair. He's completely black, like he's just black, and he just disappears. And so again, just a reference to the supernatural. Not exactly sure what that means yet, but having this supernatural reference come right after Bill claiming he was not there, but he dreamed he was going to be there, we can surmise that there was some supernatural actions that occurred with this murder with Ruth, and that involved Bill Hastings. And we know that Doppelganger Cooper is from the Black Lodge, and in all likelihood has the ability to use supernatural powers. Last two clues we get from Doppelganger Cooper is he shows Daria an ace of spades, but it's not a real ace of spades. It has this odd kind of Rorschach mark on it, and he tells her this is what he wants. And when he says it, he seems to want it really badly. And we also see him download blueprints for Yankton Federal Prison. This is as soon as he hangs up the phone from who he thought was Philip Jeffries, but at the end he says, "Who is this?" He's not really sure who it is. And after that phone call, he downloads these blueprints of Federal Yankton Prison, and we're not exactly sure why he did that yet either. So Agent Cooper is in the Black Lodge and is ready to come out. Doppelganger Cooper is in the real world and is supposed to be heading back to the Black Lodge, but is going to do everything he can to stay where he is. This mysterious glass box. We did not get a lot of information at all on this glass box. It's rumored that the whole building is owned by an anonymous billionaire, and we know the purpose of the box was to capture something and record it, take photos of it. We then see something enter the box, some kind of spirit, ghost, something beyond this world, and it viciously murders the two people in the room. After this, we see that once Agent Cooper leaves the Black Lodge, because he does at the end of the episode, after the doppelganger's arm kind of attacks him, the floor opens up, he falls through some black space, it's space, I guess, going through dimensions, and he ends up in this glass box. Now, he ends up there, the timing of when he ends up there is right before the two people are actually murdered in the room. I'm not sure if him being there has to do with how the other entity got there or not. They don't really give us any clues on this at all. We just know that the glass box is there, something did come into it, and it then viciously murdered the two people in the room. Now, there's no doubt that this glass box is tied to the Black and White Lodge. The glass box is trying to capture something from out of this world, from a different dimension, and that is where the Black and White Lodge exist, in different dimensions. Now, dimensions were never mentioned in Season 1 and 2. I would be a little shocked if we didn't see it mentioned in Season 3, just based on the general knowledge of dimensions in the public. through Hollywood movies and stuff, we've become familiar with this concept of different dimensions. And I think it's definitely going to be focused on more in this third season than we saw in season 1 and 2. So we don't know exactly what the glass box is. We don't know the anonymous billionaire who owns the black box and who's running this project. But we do know that Agent Cooper went there. And we do know that it definitely has to do with capturing something from a different dimension, and that the Black and White Lodge are from different dimensions. So this is probably how we're going to see it tie in. At the murder scene, we see Ruth's head decapitated in her apartment, and there's a body in the bed with her, but the body is not Ruth's. So that first murder we see is actually two victims, the head of Ruth and the body of a John Doe. They're not really sure who it is, but there's a good chance that it is the body of Major Garland Briggs. Again, from season 1 and 2. Again, someone who had knowledge of the Black and White Lodge. Major Garland Briggs worked for the Air Force, and he was actually studying the supernatural phenomenon in the woods of Twin Peaks. The other reference we get to Major Garland in this episode is when Doppelganger Cooper checks in with Philip Jeffries right after he kills Daria. And the man on the other line, who Doppelganger Cooper believes is Philip Jeffries, says to him, "I know you've met with Major Garland Briggs." He says it in a way that leads us to believe that Doppelganger Cooper should not have met with Major Garland. It was a fantastic episode. It blew me away. As you said, we've gotten like 3 different stories. We have the glass box. Then we have Doppelganger Cooper and the murder with Ruth and Bill Hastings being set up for it. And then we have the story with Agent Cooper in the Black Lodge and him trying to get out. They're giving us a lot in these episodes. It's really exciting. Can't wait to see how it all ties together. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't be afraid to give it a like. If you're as excited as me about the rest of the season of Twin Peaks, go ahead, subscribe, and click the bell, and you will be notified every time I post a video. If you know anybody else watching this third season of Twin Peaks, go ahead and share the video with them. It will give you something to talk about. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.